It's not fair. It's not fair. Why are they doing this to us? They're well within their rights. They're behaving properly according to their culture and their country and their religion and everything they've ever known, their society. Just stop being such an American if you want to live in India. Of all the countries, of all the areas, the regions of the world where you definitely should not go live there if you're going to keep an American mindset, I would put India up there. I would put India at the top. Do not go to India. Do not even visit India if you've got that American mindset. Except I would love to send Elizabeth and Andre. I would love to give her family a 1-week trip to just kind of like the highlights of northern India and book them in kind of like, not terrible hotels, but not the best hotels, and just follow them around with a camera and see how they do. Hello, welcome to another recap of 90 Day Fiance The Other Way. It's back after that brief hiatus. We are now on season 2, episode 15, Ready or Not. And first of all, I'd like to welcome a few new subscribers to our little shady tribe, and that is Advocate. Also welcome Vieux Annonces, and also Pretty Boy Famous, and finally Stara Andrews. Welcome. I am always happy to have you all join me. You know how much I love your comments. I read and respond to them all. So I usually don't remember to say this till the end, but do remember to like, comment, subscribe if you want to do me the honor, and also ring the bell so that you will be notified every time there is an upload. Okay, I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to be covering every show in the 90 Day Fiance universe. If there are any shows, for example, on people that I find just either disturbing or uninteresting, I'm not going to cover them. Of course, I'll cover all the main shows, but as you know from 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, there are entire storylines in that I simply don't cover. I cover the couples that are interesting and believable. When it just becomes cartoon nonsense, or like I said, when it's people who are just plain old disturbed, we don't need to know. We don't need to talk about them. It's my show, I get to decide. So, and I promise you I'm a much better host, and I'm much more excited to be doing this when it's subjects that I find interesting and couples that I find interesting. And anyway, so let's jump right in. Okay, we are back with Jenny and Sumit. Okay, I am pretty tired of people wanting to marry someone in a radically different culture, a completely different family structure, completely different religion, completely different in every way you could possibly name, and say, but it's not fair. It's not fair. Why, Jenny? Why can't I marry Sumit? I love him. I love Sumit. I have to marry him if I want to stay in India. Really? Okay, this is a culture that's rooted in thousands of years. And by the way, some of these things are cultural universals that you're going to find in most nations around the world, including our own. Parents are not going to be thrilled for their young son to marry someone who is older than his mother. And in most cultures who, there's no chance, they're way past childbearing age, so no chance for grandparents. And, this is, I've gone over this so many times about India. You guys know I spend a lot of time there. I have a lot of friends there. I'm pretty immersed in Indian culture. And so at this point, Jenny and Sumit just drive me crazy. When it all started, I was so excited. I'm like, yay, we're going to do India. And then, oh, look. I left popped my earbuds in for absolutely no reason at all. And then, we learn the whole story. We learn that you misled us for 2 years. You neglected to tell us about the part of you and Sumit becoming friends, then you weaseling into his house, saying that you were going to stay for a week, ending up staying for months, becoming best friends with his mother, and then, he's coming up to the 3rd floor, up to the roof, to have sex with you while his parents are sleeping. I mean, this is such a betrayal. And I can't even believe that frankly, that the parents will let him even speak her name. So I can completely understand why they're angry. Again, I'm talking about, in Indian culture. I can't think of anything that's more of a betrayal. Welcoming someone into your home is an imperative in Indian culture. Guest is a god. You let someone into your home, and that's your chance to take care of someone, to take care of the stranger, to give them everything with love and generosity. And then, she's tagging your young son, or he's tagging her, whichever way you want to look at it. But the fact is, that was an ugly, ugly thing of her to do, and a selfish thing of her to do. So yeah, Jenny for me is like, no. Okay, and yeah, I mean, you're a liar. As much as Sumit, you guys are both a pair of liars. I'm sorry that you are not getting to be with the love of your life, Jenny. Sumit, I'm really sorry that you had to be put through a terrible marriage, which was so bad that you thought about killing yourself a couple times. I mean, that's horrific. But the fact is, you two started this relationship in a very ugly way. It's not cute like it would be maybe in, New York or whatever, any Miami. It would be cute, we're sneaking around to have sex together or whatever. No, there's nothing cute about this. This is quite simply a betrayal, full stop. So all right, so Sumit is meeting with his parents again, still seeking acceptance for Jenny, which is never going to happen. Sahna and Anil, his mother and father, these poor people having to be dragged through this over and over and over again. Of course they're not going to allow the marriage. They're saying, we'll we can discuss this or whatever. They're sounding like they're leaving the tiniest crack open in the door, but I'm here to tell you, no, they're not going to let Sumit and Jenny get married. The only way for them to get married is for him to say, I'm cutting off all relations with my mother and father. I have to not see them anymore. And let me tell you something, in Indian culture and according to the Hindu religion, that is something you don't do unless you are completely not spiritual or not religious at all. And you're just like, I don't care, I'm going to do it. And there's one in every so many, how many people that might do that, but it's so uncommon. And clearly, Sumit is not like I'm an outlier, I'm not really like a typical Indian guy. No, he's not going to cut off his relations with his parents. His next life is dependent on him caring for them in their old age, and just in general, and making them proud and making them happy. Why do you think he married some woman that he obviously had no interest in, and the marriage ended up becoming a nightmare because his parents were like, you have to do this for us? And you can say, like Jenny, it's not fair. It's not fair. You know what? Yeah, say people all around the world who are political prisoners or in other horrible situations that they can't control, living under dictatorships, whatever. Yeah, life is not always fair. That's such an American thing to say. It's not fair. It's not fair. I love Sumit. I should be with him. I'm up to here with her. Okay. All right. Yeah. Remember, again, Jenny is older than Sahna. She's older than the mom. So not only does that mean there's not going to be any children, and it's just plain old weird and unheard of in Indian culture, it also means that the entire family and the neighbors, all their friends, are going to really look down on them. They're going to lose face. And you could say, being an American, you might say, if I know there are non-Americans watching this too, the American answer is, well, who cares? I just do me. I'm just going to do me, and I don't care what anyone else says. Yeah, well, try doing that if you were born and raised in India in a Hindu family. Good luck with that. You know, the whole world is not America. So, in the words of David Bowie, this is not America. Okay, I love it when they say, you know, you can't, and this is a good thing to say to Jenny, you can't just stick something into this culture and expect it to thrive when it doesn't belong here. And they say, you know, a mango tree is not going to give you lemons. That's a great analogy. That sounds like a very Indian analogy, by the way. It sounds like a very Hindi analogy. It's like, no, this is just so out of place and so bizarre here. You know, it's like a camel marrying a sheep. It's just, no, it's not going to happen. Okay. And then they also say, you know, you need to care for us when we're old. And you're going to be caring for Jenny first. She's older than us. I mean, yeah, Jenny does seem like she's in good health, but still, it is a valid point. And Sumit says, oh, I will care for all of you. Sumit, you don't have any money. Your parents are paying for that divorce. Your parents shelled out $20,000 for that divorce. Maybe he came up with a little bit. And that was apparently most of the parents' savings, by the way. $20,000 is an enormous amount of money for a middle-class family in India, like Asana and Anil. Okay, Sumit says he'll pay them back. Yeah, right. Okay. Now they do admit that his ex was, I mean, they don't say this, but apparently she was kind of a bitch and she made his life miserable, but probably because she realized right away, oh, this guy can't stand me, or he probably told her he was in love with someone else. And Sumit is really angry. He's getting quite angry. And now he starts to get emotional, and he says, I was so miserable being married to this woman. You don't even know. 3 times I thought of suicide. And here is a good time for me to tell you that 3 times he talked about taking his own life. And this is something that people in India tend not to just talk about doing. I mean, this is a problem all over the world in every country, but it's a pretty big problem in India. When people start talking this way, you have to immediately you have to help them, you have to get them to help. Yeah. Let me just say, it's really sad how many times Indian people in desperate situations see that as their way out, which is horrible. Okay, he wants Jenny and his parents to meet, and he wants them to think about it. They say they will try their best. Okay, saying they'll try their best is pretty open for Indian parents, but it's not, we're going to let you marry her. No. It's too much to ask. It's too much to ask. No. It's a camel marrying a sheep. No. Very big on camels. I think I used in something else, I said the look on her face is like she's watching a camel and a goat have sex. I don't know what it is with me and camels. Whoops. Okay. Another case of someone saying this is not fair, that they should do what she wants, and being completely American and, you know, bullheaded and not understanding that most of the world, the vast majority of the world, does not have American values and open-mindedness. A lot of America doesn't even have open-mindedness. So why do you think the world is going to conform to what you want, Brittany? That's right, we're talking about Brittany and Yazan. Okay, Brittany's in Chicago. She says, I don't know, his parents, they're like insane, they're crazy. No, they're not crazy. They're a normal Jordanian Muslim family. The parents are normal Jordanian Muslim parents. Again, they're not going to be like, yay! Instagram model is our new daughter-in-law. No. She's just so clueless. She's talking to her mother, who seems like a nice, supportive mom, but again, mom doesn't really get it either. She's saying, why should they tell me what religion I should be? Why are you chasing after a Jordanian Muslim guy from a religious family if you're shocked that they're telling you what religion you should be? There are many, many boys out there, many men out there who are atheists, and religion will not even be a problem. Or get someone who's, mediocre, lukewarm American Christian, like most Americans are. Whatever. Just why? Why go for this? To create drama. Mom does not want her to delete her social media. She said, that's who you are. Your social media is who you are. You should not marry Yazan if he doesn't accept you. Well, he's not, and his parents are not going to, so don't marry him. I hope she's more than just your social media. I hope there's more to her than that. I'm sure there is, but yeah. Anyway, Brittany still has hope, though. No. Okay, now, Kenneth and Armando. All right. They're going home to meet the parents and to take Hannah back with them to Mission, to their new home. They're really excited about picking her up. The biggest unknown is Armando's father. Armando says now that he is going to tell his parents they're engaged, which is a big step for him. He said he will tell his mom first, but he's very scared about this. He's very uncomfortable. Okay, then we cut to Ariella and Biniyam. They move into a guest house while he fixes up that other house, his brother's house, that was basically a construction tip, that was a mess. This is a new apartment that's close to the hospital. It has a functioning, semi-decent bathroom and kitchen. She apologizes for threatening to go home. She said she was really scared after her mom left. She already feels better. She doesn't want him away working all the time for the first month, she says. But the whole thing is, well, on the other hand, she needs all these things that he can't possibly pay for unless he works 5 jobs. So they're either gonna, he's either gonna have to work a lot and be away from her, because he is a hustler. This guy's not lazy. He's not afraid to work. He's not Ji-hoon. He's definitely not scared to work. But that means they're just going to have to use her money or her parents' money, and she doesn't have that much left in the way of savings, apparently, the way they're going through it. Okay, I'm going to stop and say something now. This 2-hour format is boring. At this moment, I'm having trouble remembering because there are so many 90 Day Fiance shows. This is not usually a 2-hour show, is it? It's usually a 1-hour show. 2 hours is not working. What they're doing is they're stretching out everything ridiculously, so that it's like, they have a little segment, nothing happens, then they tease you that something's going to happen in the next segment. So they're going to have to either pack the episodes with more, or else they're kind of borderline losing my interest. Okay, because although these situations are quite interesting, most of them, it basically feels to me, and tell me if you feel the same, like this whole show is going in slow motion. I felt like it took forever to watch it, and I usually love watching and taking notes, because what I do is I watch it, the very first time I watch it, I take all my notes and form all my comments and opinions and thoughts and all that, impressions. But this one just felt like it took me 5 hours, and it's because there was just not a lot going on in every segment. Okay, Tim and Melyza. He has a job interview. Melyza's parents hate him. Boring trust issues. Melyza is going to meet with her friend and her brother, and they're teasing it, but I can already tell she's going to tell them that she slept with someone while she and Tim were on a break. Who cares? He cheated on you and you broke up. And so while you were broken up, you met some guy who told you were pretty and you slept with him. Who cares? You're totally allowed to do that, okay? I mean, you're not fundamentalist Mormon. It's fine for you to do that. And you don't have to explain yourself to him. I think this is just, again, fake drama. Tim totally effed you over. I'm not saying that you should do it as revenge. No, but I think there is something that says that when you feel like you've been dumped or cheated on, that the right person could come along during that period when you're kind of like angry or mourning or whatever, and be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, you're so amazing, and a fling could happen because it lifts your spirits. You're vulnerable. What can I say? All right. And I'm thinking, don't tell him. Don't tell him, Melyza. There's no reason. It doesn't matter. Anyway, you were within your rights anyway. Why would you tell him and let him judge you over this? Because I'm sure he's going to be upset to create more drama. So, again, yawn. Okay. If she does tell him, it's going to be just to punish him. That's what I feel like. I feel like if she tells him, it's not because, oh, I have to be so honest. I have to tell him from my heart so that we don't have anything between us. I don't know. I sort of feel like, or are you telling him just to say, see, two can play that game? So I'm not impressed. All right. You know how much I love Kenneth and Armando. I adore them. I adore their story, and their story is so real, and their love is so real. It makes me believe in 90 Day Fiance. They give me hope for 90 Day Fiance. But having said that, they're going to drag the shit out of their story. And now we're going to have a whole long segment where very little happens. Okay, well, they're going to arrive at the house. The whole family's there, including Armando's sister, his mom, Hannah, his daughter. Hannah runs to Kenny. It's kind of cute. She goes to Kenny first, jumps into his arms. She's an angel. Kenny meets the family, the sisters. Apparently, mom has a lot of sisters. The mom's name is Virginia, and all of her sisters are there. Everyone's a bit awkward. I mean, what all of these women don't know is that you've met several gay men in your lifetime. It's just Mexico, so they're closeted. You've all met many gay men, but probably some of them are thinking, ooh, these are the first gay men we've known. This is, okay, well, Armando, we've known all his life, but we didn't know he was gay, and now here's this American gay man. How exotic. Trust me, everybody in the world, no matter where you live, you've met plenty of gay men. Okay, everyone, of course, is obviously, they're awkward. Armando's sister has a nice smile for Kenny, which is good. She doesn't talk a lot. Armando's not happy. He looks extremely uncomfortable, and no one's happy except Hannah. Hannah's delighted. She's like, I have two daddies. She's psyched. I love kids. I mean, she's just like, because she's going to have Armando and Kenny between them are like giant lamps of love. She's just going to be soaked in love the entire time growing up. Can you imagine? She is going to be one happy child and one happy adult growing up with those two. Okay. Dad is staying in the house. He hasn't come out to say hello. Mom kind of opens the door, goes in and says, please just come out and say hi. But he doesn't want to come out. There's good drama here in this moment. Finally, he does actually come out after the commercial, of course. He does shake Kenny's hand, and he greets him uncomfortably without much eye contact. He tells them to make themselves at home, and then he goes back inside. Okay, what you guys are probably thinking, oh, disrespectful, oh, terrible, but no, I'm telling you, for a Mexican father, a Catholic Mexican father, that was not bad. The fact that he shook his hand and greeted him and said, make yourself at home, no, this is actually really good. This is not a bad start at all. The fact that he even agreed to meet him is pretty good. Okay, Deborah and mom miss Armando, and Armando's sister Deborah, and Deborah's really sad that Hannah is going to go to live with them. She's really going to miss Armando. She's also really going to miss Hannah, because I guess she kind of helped raise Hannah. It was really hard for Kenny to leave his kids too, he says. That was the hardest thing about him coming to be with Armando. Kenny starts to tear up. So Kenny and mom kind of share that. They both have this sadness about, losing their children moving away. And so that's kind of sweet. Now Armando picks this moment. Oh, just going to do it right when you get there. He's going to make an announcement. We're engaged. And he takes out the ring and puts it on his finger. And that goes down like a lead balloon. Everyone's kind of like, a lot of silence. Obviously, the sisters have, their initial impression of Kenny is, oh, he's nice, but, obviously everyone's going to have a really hard time with this. Mom doesn't know what to say. She says, well, it's Armando's choice. She looks like she's in shock. She's a bit embarrassed. I think that that he said it in front of her sisters. She could have done without that. Maybe he could have told her privately first before just blurting it out at the family barbecue. Give them time, Kenny. This is actually not a bad start. And the sisters even say, the aunts, well, we hope we're invited. So it's actually, look, for what could be, it's going great. They don't realize it. And especially Kenny doesn't realize it. You're doing great. You're doing great. Okay, this is literally an example. This is literally an example of how much filler they need to make this a 2-hour episode. Ariel and Biniyam go to buy a car. Okay, this is literally an example of how much they are having to fill the time to make a 2-hour show out of this. Ariel and Biniyam go to buy a used car. So we spend, 7 minutes at a car lot in Addis Ababa? While Ariella finds what all of us who've lived in Africa know. Yes, a totally shitty used car costs a fortune. These countries do not make cars. Zambia and Malawi and Botswana and Ethiopia, they don't manufacture cars there. They have to be brought in from other countries, and the taxes on them are ridiculous. To bring a car into the country and then to buy a car, the taxes are so high that the vast majority, about like half of what you're paying for the car, not the vast majority, but a good half of what you're paying for any car is taxes. And this is the way it is, and you're not going to change it. So she's horrified that a 2008 Yaris costs $22,000 US. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. People don't drive new cars in Africa. People don't drive cars. Oh my God, you're rich if you have a car. But even if you're, very kind of upper class, and you have a car, it's probably going to be like a used Toyota or a used Honda, a used Hyundai. And you will have paid a fortune for it. You could buy a house or you could buy a car. That's how bad it is. And I think in Addis Ababa, actually, real estate's really expensive too. But anyway, yeah, this is life in Africa. You can't change this. And again, she is constantly just comparing everything to the United States. That car would cost a few $1,000s in the United States, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what? Why is everyone doing this? I sometimes feel like, no, Americans should be tested. They should be given psychological testing before they are allowed to even be a tourist in the developing world, let alone go live there. Because the ignorance is staggering. Why are you expecting the same things in Ethiopia that you would find in Princeton, New Jersey? I can't, that just does not compute. Because even when I was very young, the first time I went to a super developing country and I saw, everything, I was just kind of like, okay, well, that's how it is here. Things are different here. Why did you travel all this way? Did you travel all this way to see things that are exactly like they are in the United States? No. Okay, all right, so that was just a whole waste of a segment. Now we have a brief shot of Yazan and Aman, I guess, saying, I need to fulfill my contractual obligations by appearing briefly in this episode. So he says he feels left behind by Brittany without a good explanation. We see him for like 20 seconds. You could have stuck in some more of Yazan with his family, because that would be just as interesting as a lot of the other segments in this 2-hour snooze fest. Okay. All right. So Brittany goes to her court date. She's still not married. The divorce is not finished. She says she gets there and they were missing paperwork and she has to refile. So now she has to stay in the United States for longer. I don't think any of this is real. I think this whole thing is BS. I could be wrong, but that's just my feeling. I don't believe anything. I don't believe anything in this couple's story, frankly. Except the fact that his parents are horrified that he is marrying this girl who has no interest in becoming a Muslim. That I believe. Okay, now back to Jenny and Sumit. He's the love of my life. I'm not going to leave him. Sumit comes after the meeting with mom and dad, and of course he is not going to cut mom and dad out of his life. He's not going to dishonor them, by going against their wishes and humiliating them by marrying a woman who's older than his mother. He doesn't exactly say that, but and if that's the truth, Sumit, then let her go. Let Jenny go. Don't make your parents the villains, okay? Yeah, I mean, look, lots of people in India are forced into really bad marriages, and there can be misery on both sides for the brides and the grooms, but most arranged marriages muddle through. Some of them end up being great. As you know, there's a very low divorce rate. Yeah, maybe that's because some people are married, are not very happy, but they're kind of like, I'm not going to get divorced because being divorced sucks in India. Maybe. But there's also plenty of couples from arranged marriages that have developed a love and a friendship and a respect over time, and they're happy. So who's to say what's better? Our marriages that are love marriages and more often than not end in divorce, or this other way. The only thing is, obviously, it's the thing that's unfortunate about India is you can find yourself in a marriage where you're absolutely miserable, or even an abusive marriage, and you really try everything not to have a divorce, which can leave you in a miserable situation. That's obviously the negative. Okay. And Jenny is being all sassy and bitchy about the parents. Again, it's not fair. It's not fair. Why are they doing this to us? They're well within their rights. They're behaving properly according to their culture and their country and their religion and everything they've ever known, their society. Just stop being such an American if you want to live in India. Of all the countries, of all the areas, the regions of the world where you definitely should not go live there if you're going to keep an American mindset, I would put India up there. I would put India at the top. Do not go to India. Do not even visit India if you've got that American mindset. Accept it as a punishment. I would love to send Elizabeth and Andre. I would love to give her family a 1-week trip to just kind of like the highlights of northern India, just as a punishment, and book them in kind of like, not terrible hotels, but not the best hotels, and just follow them around with a camera and see how they do. Okay, yeah, I mean, you have to compromise. She can't live there without marriage, because even if she has 10-year visas, or she gets a succession of 10-year visas, you have to leave every 6 months for a few days and then come back again. You can't just stay there permanently, and you can't work. I mean, she's 60, she's already cashed in her 401k, maybe she's not really planning on working anyway. But, how much longer does she really want to work? I don't know. Sumit says, look, I'm not going to give up on them. I mean, even if you ask them, I'm not going to give up on my parents, so don't worry about that. Dude, right at this point, I'm feeling like you're just about the most selfish man ever. I'm sorry that this happened to you with the horrible marriage, but you kind of created this drama with your family. You know your culture, you know your society, you know what you did, Sumit. I'm sorry. If this was so important to you, then you would have had to be willing to take Jenny and run off to America with her. And you're not willing to do that. No. Okay. And Jenny asks, are you sure I'm the one you want to be with? To my mind, Sumit takes a little long to answer, but then he says, yeah, 100% sure. Yes, 100% sure. Bullshit. This is hopeless. It's hopeless, folks. This is not going to work out. They may manage to milk this out and stretch it out and be together for a while. I don't know how long it'll last, but let me tell you something. This is not fundamentally going to work. Okay. All right, Kenny and Armando. Moving at the pace of a snail, even though I love them so much, and I know this is all very important, but we don't need to follow it in real time, which is what I feel like we're doing. The party breaks up. The aunts hug Kenny. Kenny was like, I thought it would go better. How? They all turned up to meet you. The father came out and shook your hand and greeted you. You have no idea how you're doing great. Kenny, you're doing great. This was like a victory and he doesn't even know it. He has no idea. Obviously dad was cold. Obviously the engagement was a shocker. Obviously they're not going to dance around with, being thrilled with all this. They have to get used to it. But the fact is everyone turned up. Even dad showed his face. You're doing great. Okay? All right. I don't understand why Armando waits until in front of the camera when he's standing out in front of the house at the end of the night to ask his mother, can we sleep in the house? What? Isn't that something you would talk about on the phone before you got there? What should the sleeping arrangements be? Should we get a place to stay for Kenny? Are you comfortable with him staying in the house? She says, yeah, you can stay. You don't have to ask dad. Okay. I just feel like mom is really trying. Hopefully it's a big enough house that they're not sleeping in the same room, because not that anything would happen, but that just seems like super disrespectful to mom and dad. I don't know. And Ariel and Biniyam go to the doctor and they find out that the baby is still in the breech position at 39 weeks and she has been leaking or losing amniotic fluid. She has the minimum amount that you can have to keep the baby in there. So they have to schedule her for a cesarean that day. See, if you'd taken this show and put it down into an hour, it would be like bang, 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 pow, pow, pow. It would be amazing, right? I don't know why they always do this. They always try to stretch it out. Okay, well, she's absolutely terrified. That's horrifying news, because they're like, you know that it's not safe. You have to have the baby. So apparently, look, I can tell you this. I know she's terrified, and I know she doesn't want to have surgery in that hospital, but wow, again, my standards are maybe lower because Zambia and Malawi don't have the best hospitals, but that hospital is a fancy private hospital by African standards. It is nice. The equipment is nice. It's super clean. The staff are lovely. This is a beautiful hospital. I think it'll be absolutely fine. I think she'll be absolutely fine. Okay. So there's 2 other cesareans that have to be done that are more urgent than her. And then she's going to be the 3rd to go into surgery that day. So her mom and dad aren't going to be there. Remember, her mom and dad were going to come to be there for the birth. So this is an unwelcome surprise. And we will find out next week how everything turns out. But again, I think that this could have been a fabulous 1-hour episode. Could have been like an A- 1-hour episode, but it's like a C+ as a 2-hour episode. It's not a good idea to drag it out. Now I'm going to go back and check and see if the show was 1 hour before the hiatus. I'm pretty sure it was only 1 hour. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. And again, please remember to comment, love your comments. Oh my goodness. Even when we're sometimes, not necessarily seeing eye to eye on certain things, I'm learning. I've learned a lot from a couple of the comments. I always respect your opinions. And most of you, you make me feel loved. You make me feel very special. Here, let me do a Candace cry. I want to say that you really make me feel like what I'm doing is worthwhile. And I just want to tell you that I want you to take good care of yourself. And I want you to be good, but not too good. I love you. Bye.